Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of The Blueprint. My name's Gary, I'm going to be host for today. The Blueprint is all about teaching people to be better at marketing. We've got in real life events, we've got online webinars, and we obviously have this podcast. Today, I am joined by Adam from Rosslyn David. Adam, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Cool, I'm great. This is the second time we've recorded this, and the first time I forgot your name, so I'm glad I got it right there. Today's episode, right, is all about how recruiters can be better at marketing. Before we jump into that, tell me a little bit about yourself and what Rosslyn or who Rosslyn David are/do.
Sure. So I've been in marketing recruitment for 8 years-ish, give or take, and spent my first few years moving around different recruitment agencies, which is fairly sort of typical in our industry. And then, learned a lot of good things, observed a lot of bad things to make sure I never do. And it got to a point where I realized I was good at it. It doesn't come from a place of arrogance, but my billings were well. I was commercially viable to the businesses that I was working in most of the time.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do it on my own because I felt like I could bring something different to the market. And I've always worked in a very honest and communicative way. And sometimes lack of honesty or lack of communication can be the thing that lets recruiters down. So I kind of thought, I feel like I've got those pillars nailed. So let's start something on my own and run with it and see how we get on.
And that's what born out of those flames, Rosslyn David.
Yeah, Rosslyn David, the marketing headhunters. We're five and a bit years old.
So what does that actually mean, marketing head? Because we've spoken before, and I think what you're saying is you don't class yourselves as a classic recruitment agency.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. So typically a recruitment agency, and not all, but typically when they get a brief from a client, they'll do two things. They'll put a job advert out, which obviously means they're hoping that the right people come to them. Mm-hmm. And they'll also have a look on their database, have a look in their drawer next to their desk for any CVs they've got that might fit or have the right keywords on that they can ping over.
A real estate agent, right?
Yeah, exactly. And typically once that database has been exhausted, which obviously no database has got everybody on it.
Sure.
They then have to be, by process of elimination, reactive to the job applicants that come in.
Yes.
And from the statistics that we've found through looking at LinkedIn, and anybody can do this at home, it's only about 20 to 25% of the market that class themselves as open to new opportunities.
Right.
So as a headhunt firm, we actually go and headhunt. So we don't do any of the reactive stuff. It's all proactive.
Okay, so you're knocking on doors to people saying, hey, I think you're good.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd be a good fit over here kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But it's going to whole of market. And I honestly think it's got to be about 80% of the people that we represent to our clients across the board.
Yeah.
When we begin the process with them, they're not actively on the market. They haven't got a CV that's written. They're completely happy in their job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've managed to turn their head with something, some element of the job is appealing to them. And then we sort of build the conversation out from there.
I love that. It's sort of, there's always, like when I was younger growing up, there's always that, you hear somebody say, oh, I was headhunted or someone contacted me.
Yeah.
Back in the day, 80s, 90s, being headhunted was a massive thing. Now it's more recruiters, not to say there isn't a massive thing now, but now it's more recruiters sliding into your DMs and saying, hey, have you thought about this? I wouldn't say it's easy to headhunt. It probably has less of a shine to it, but I think more people are open to moving roles nowadays. Post-COVID, like the big resignation, etc.
Yeah, I think so. I think the point that it's easier, I think that's true because of technology.
Yeah.
So LinkedIn enables you to message anyone anywhere in the world at any time. Whether they respond to it and read it is a different question.
Yeah, sure.
But
it's not like ringing their DDI, right?
Exactly. Yeah. But with that means that a lot more people are doing it, which then technically makes it harder.
Yes.
Because you've got to shine through all of the crap that it's saturated. Yeah. And I speak to a lot of candidates where I might have to contact them 2 or 3 times over 1 or 2 or 3 different platforms. And then they come back to me on the 3rd or the 4th message and they apologize and say, I'm really sorry, I didn't see this because I get constantly bombarded with crap.
Yeah.
And what you've sent me actually isn't crap. So I want to talk to you.
And that is an amazing segue because it is just like marketing a business. Right, that is, a consumer doesn't necessarily buy a product from online touch points until they've seen 10 plus touch points, 10 plus adverts, right? And that's the same thing in recruitment. And I think recruitment is it's relatively unique in the sense that you have 2 audiences. Two separate audiences. You've got clients and you've got candidates, whereas everybody else has one audience and loads of demographics within there, where you've got 2 audiences with their own demographics within those as well. So today's topic is obviously how to get recruiters be better at marketing. Right? Let's start with how bad they are. And we'll
Right.
try and solve those problems, right? We won't name names.
Sure.
But what have you seen in the market, in the industry, should I say, where recruiters are doing bad marketing, or not say bad, let's say marketing that isn't successful?
I think a lot of it, the stuff that I would class as bad or not so good or
Yep.
whatever you want to say, I'd say because it's forced.
Okay.
And I think over the last 5-6 years,
Mm-hmm.
certainly probably the last 2 or 3 years, everyone keeps talking about personal brand.
Yeah.
Which is
Massive buzzword, right?
Which is huge, and everybody thinks it's a really sexy way to market yourself, and it is. But in my experience, from trying to create a bit of a personal brand myself, and also watching other people do it, it's something that can't be forced. You have to be knowledgeable. You have to be articulate. You have to be charismatic. You have to be authentic, and naturally, like just natural.
Yeah.
And I think I see a lot of people that have clearly been in a meeting and heard that they need to create a personal brand. So they go on LinkedIn, their content is dry as a bone. They're not saying anything that's even remotely engaging. They'll put a poll out on LinkedIn about, do you like to work from home or do you like to work in the office?
God,
and it's just so drab.
Yeah.
So I think that's on an individual basis. I think you can't force a personal brand. I think there are some people I know that aren't the most interesting people in the world, but they are absolutely brilliant at what they do.
Yes.
So all their content, although it might not be the most engaging or charismatic, it's got a lot of knowledge and bites in there that people can use, and then people engage.
Are you talking about the recruiter within an agency, their personal brand to attract candidates and clients?
Yeah. So I was going to answer your question in two parts. The part I've just mentioned is more about the individual.
Yes.
I think when it comes to recruitment businesses, a lot of recruitment businesses, everyone professes to be the same. We're a generalist agency or we're a specialist agency. We're really authentic. We're really honest. Our moral code is X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But
there's a template, right?
And it's the same for marketing agencies as well.
Yeah.
Everyone sounds the same.
Yes.
So the best way to market a recruitment business is find your niche, find what sets you apart, and convey how you are different in a very busy and noisy market.
Yeah, and that goes back then to the personal brand, because the only difference between you and the other XYZ agency is the people. That's the only thing they can't replicate. They can sell the same services as you, but and that's what we focus on, is that there are lots of other digital agencies out there, right? And there's lots of other people that create video content, but it's how we deal with our clients on a human-to-human basis is why they stick around, is why they work with us, right? Personal brand, yes, absolutely. I think that's super key. And I think you're right, forced personal brand. I'm connected with this guy. He was just on LinkedIn, didn't create content at all, right? And it never posted at all. I think maybe a month ago, someone must have said to him, personal brand.
Yeah.
And now he's writing these hugely perfect, I'll put perfect in inverted commas, right? Perfect posts, paragraph, couple of emojis, 3 hashtags.
All for the algorithm.
Honestly, it is like, it's so perfect, it's the worst.
It looks like it's out of a box.
Oh my God. And I'm like, mate, this is not you.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting to see an S and a Z accidentally not missed.
Oh, so you okay. You think there's some international influence going on.
And there's also a whole bunch of people like using ChatGPT to write their posts, because there are people that are, let's say, not very well educated that I'm connected with on LinkedIn, and then all of a sudden they are the most articulate person in the world, and I'm like, oh, you sound like a middle class robot.
They'll come unstuck in meetents. It's as simple as that. AI is a whole other topic. But
As soon as you get face to face, that's it. They'll collapse.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, cool. So let's split this, right? So we're saying from a client perspective, let's go down that route first. So the people, absolutely, they've got to market well. I think that's a good thing to focus on. What other things are recruitment companies, to try and attract clients, doing badly? What have you seen that's bad there?
A lot of the recruitment companies, especially the bigger ones, they have a real fear of letting people be themselves.
Yeah.
So, I'm not trying to say that people should be allowed to just be completely maverick, go rogue and write whatever the hell they like. But there's a lot of recruitment companies where they feel like they've got a brand.
Yeah.
In the reality is no one gives a monkey's toss about their brand, because it's the same as everybody else's. But through fear and wanting to protect it, they don't really encourage or let their recruiters, their employees, be themselves publicly. All they do is reshare job adverts, put a really boring post out. I'm recruiting a PR executive in Loughton and it's paying up to 35K. I mean, how the hell is that supposed to attract or interest anybody? So there's a problem, I think, with that.
Yeah. I 100% agree there, especially, excuse me, about posting job ads. You know, that you like I said, job in certain locations, certain salary. And I think, and we had a recruitment company approach us going, look, our posts aren't getting any engagement. I was like, of course. Firstly, they're shit. And secondly, why, as an employee that I'm working for another company, why would I like exposing myself that I think that is a good job? No one's going to, you know, that company might be getting a whole bunch of DMs, right? And they go, but we've got like 200,000 followers. I was like, yeah, they're stalking you, but they're not liking or engaging with these posts. No one wants to see this. Like you look at, oh God, I've seen so many, like recruitment companies' Facebook pages. Every post is just a job post.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a single graphic. They might have animated it in Canva, and all it is like marketing exec, 22K a year. I'm like, oh no, yeah, this isn't exciting. There is no reason to follow.
Yeah,
you know, I think you see it with plumbers, like or follow, and then on the side of the van, then a Facebook logo. Why is the first question?
Yeah.
Why should we like it?
Yeah.
Okay. One more issue that you see with marketing companies doing marketing for clients.
So job ads is the obvious one.
Yeah.
Job adverts are shite.
Yeah.
To use a word you used earlier on. It's all about our client needs, our client wants, our client has to have, you must have, you must need, you must want. And they're peppered with superlatives, which does my head in when it just shows the lack of vocabulary that somebody has when they just use superlatives all the time.
Yeah.
And a good job advert, and if anybody's ever heard of him, Mitch Sullivan is the god of this kind of thing,
right?
Is creating job adverts that are creative, that draw a person in, a candidate or an applicant in, by telling them telling the candidates what they're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
So it's not just we need a digital marketing manager who's got experience with SEO, PPC, Marketo, and paid social.
Yeah.
It's if you're looking for an opportunity where you can curate a strategy around X, Y, and Z.
Brilliant.
If you feel like you're stuck driving someone else's strategy that you don't particularly agree with, if you are trying to get email campaigns and email flows out, but you're not given the budget to use a good piece of technology, it's all about creating those job adverts that are sexy, and that are attractive and that are interesting.
Mate, that is an absolute nugget right there.
Yeah, people don't get it though.
No, and I think it's the same job that you're describing, right? But you are doing like features, advantages, benefits, classic stuff, right? Yeah. And also, and I've mentioned this, and everyone knows this, it's that Black & Decker thing as well, right? Black & Decker don't sell drills, they sell holes. So the drill side of it is 22K a year marketing exec. The hole is, do you want to work for a company that's changing the world in terms of climate change or whatever, right? That there's the why.
Yeah,
that you and the emotive side of the client and candidate, where you know we've all got these two operating systems. One's rational, one's emotional. You have to kind of tiggle both of them. And the rational is, yeah, man, I'm going to get paid. But the emotion is, I'm going to make a difference.
Yep.
And I think you need to apply a strategy to both of those OSs, but you lead with the emotional because the emotional takes over and makes that decision. You know,
absolutely.
What I also find with agencies is they are never, and you're in a unique position because you're a marketing agency, quote unquote, because you understand no marketing, you're talking about it all the time. But a majority of the time, they don't have a marketing person. You know, they're very sales led, and it's like, oh, Joanne knows how to post on Insta. We'll get her to run our marketing. Yeah. So, and again, it's like real estate agents. They're all sales led. They never think about, oh, we need a marketing manager, because they're all like, no, we need to be out selling. It's like, well, actually, yes, but you also need that reactive. You need that marketing side as well.
Demand gen, isn't it?
Yeah. So do you know, is that something you recommend? Do you have, I'm probably going to lead you down a path here, a marketing manager, for want of a better role phrase?
Yeah, we have done. So we've, there's a guy in our office, James, who probably knows the most about marketing out of all of us, listens to a lot of podcasts, goes on a lot of meetups and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he had been on the tools as a headhunter for quite a few years and wanted a little bit of a break. And I said to him, if you could come in here and curate your own job, what would it be?
Yeah.
And he said, I'd really like to have a go at marketing, but being a headhunter, he would earn more money than if he was working as a
Absolutely,
marketing
yeah.
exec with minimal experience. So we found our way where he didn't drop the money and still had a blank canvas with marketing.
Yeah.
And he's put loads of things in place in terms of HubSpot, in terms of
Yeah.
pieces of collateral, PDFs, got you guys involved with some video. He's done loads for us. And the return on investment has been impressive.
Great.
But one thing I will say, marketing to get it done right, especially in a service-led environment, is not cheap.
No.
I think in an ideal world, I'd love to have a head of marketing, a social media manager, an email marketing expert, and a brand marketing expert. But salary-wise, you're looking over 150K in terms of overheads. And it's don't get me wrong, the return on the investment will be there as long as you hire the right people.
Yes.
But marketing doesn't happen overnight.
No.
So you might not actually see those people covering their salaries per se for 12 months. So it's about putting the investment in.
That's right. And I think the recruiter's mentality is about very quick return. It's, get that job done for 3 months, bang, commission, next job.
Yeah.
Whereas actually marketing is a slow burner. And this sounds like I'm trying to sell the marketing to somebody, right?
I'm buying, mate. Don't worry.
But you know what I mean? It's like, yes, it is about 150K, and it's like, shit, man, I obviously don't have 150K yet to spend on marketing.
Yeah.
But you know that there is a good return. It's not right now, but you could double that in 2 years.
Yep.
2 years from a sales guy's perspective,
Yep.
I've already got another job.
Yep.
And I think what you should do, or what you've been doing, is actually test small parts first. So I've done a little bit of video, I've done a little bit of it, and you find out what works well for you, and then go, okay, cool. Now all of a sudden, shit, I've just spent 10 grand. Or 10 grand might buy you 3 months worth of a PPC manager or a social media manager, and you just put all your eggs into that basket and slowly train them up and see what works. So I think, 150 grand for an agency will go a long way, but that is it's a put your balls on the table time.
Yeah, totally.
You've really got to be risk adverse to spend that kind of cash on investing in marketing where you don't see a quick. And it is quick in terms of like a year to 2 years, but I think the salesperson's mentality is that you need it turned around 3 months. I want to make 5 grand because I spent 2. And someone wants to see that straight away.
Yeah. There's also a lot to be said about the fact that I think we mentioned earlier, most recruitment agencies, headhunt firms, search firms, a lot of them say the same things in the way they market their own brand. So you could have the biggest budget and the biggest marketing push going, but if your service proposition is 10 a penny, you're going to be lucky if it gets picked up and it flies. I think the thing that people marketing sort of recruitment agencies in general must do first is get their service prop right. Double check their feedback, speak to candidates and clients, ensure that their experience and their feedback to you mirrors how you're positioning yourself in the market. And if you can get the brand, then you're getting your brand bit right.
Yes.
But what a lot of recruitment agencies do, from what I can see online, is they go, we're a generalist recruitment agency and we've won an award or 2 awards. Brackets, you haven't won it, you've paid for it, because that's just bullshit.
It was a competition.
Yeah, exactly. And then they just go to market and pitch this drab, boring service proposition that everybody's heard 10 times over. So you've got to differentiate yourself before you then take it to market.
Do you think there are, enough agencies out there that are doing well enough at marketing? Do you think the majority of them are doing well, or do you think these recruitment agencies are generally not that good at it?
I think the younger and the smaller ones are.
Right.
Younger, not in terms of age of staff, but the newer recruitment firms, because they don't have like a institutionalized legacy deep entrenched in them.
Old boys.
Exactly.
I know this guy, he will let us in the door kind of stuff.
I think the kind of recruitment companies that force their employees to turn up in a blouse or a shirt and tie, they're probably the ones who aren't marketing themselves that well.
No, that's right. They're the kind of people that would say, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah, that whole draconian old school mindset.
Name your top 3 weaknesses. You're like, oh God. I think if anyone, I thought about this, if anyone ever asks me that in an interview, if ever I was to go through an interview process, I'd be like, I'm sorry, it's
not for me.
You've Googled interview questions and now I'm here.
Or you come up with something that you think's really smart, it doesn't land in the way that you intended, and you're not going to get taken forward anyway.
So tips and tricks, right? What I like to get the listeners, all 3 of them, to do is to implement some stuff tomorrow once they've listened to this, right? So that's and then at the end, actually, I want to talk about from a candidate perspective what they can do, right? So from an agency perspective, what would you suggest to kind of, if their marketing's not working that well, what can they turn around? What can they apply a bit of focus on to start seeing some, I hate this phrase, low-hanging fruit, to kind of get a bit more reach? Is it that personal brand thing, do you think?
It could be, but again, you can't force it.
Yeah.
You can't have a meeting with your team on a Monday morning and go, right, everybody, I want everyone to put a personal brand marketing plan together.
Yeah.
Because the clever, articulate, creative ones, in theory, should already have been doing it.
Yeah.
If you're then having to ask someone to create a personal brand,
Agreed.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Obviously, the free stuff.
Yep.
Per se, in terms of low-hanging fruit. So get your LinkedIn posting right, start your organic social.
Yeah.
I think what a lot of people do is they will start marketing before they actually think about it.
Do you know what? Everyone does that.
Yeah.
They go, I want to make a video. Bosh, I go out and shoot a video.
Yeah.
No. You need to sit down and plan
it's
it.
the same with anything. If I'm emailing a client to convince them to work with us or to convince them to change their mind about a salary offer or something like that, and I have this conversation with the guys internally if we do training and stuff, think what you're trying to achieve. What's the end goal?
What's your objective?
And then work backwards.
Yes.
And by the time you get to the beginning, you've written half of the email or half of the post anyway, because you know what you're trying to achieve.
Yes.
So get a plan and a strategy in place. Get a schedule in place as well. Do some Googling and look, like, anyone who tries to put out their big LinkedIn post at 9 a.m. on a Monday morning, I mean, switch on.
Yeah.
Who has got time to be? If you're scrolling, but who's scrolling LinkedIn on a Monday morning? They're checking their emails. They're having a coffee. They're in their Monday morning meeting. Whatever.
Yeah.
You've got to look at when to post and just be a little bit smart with it. The low hanging fruit piece, I think, does come from brand building.
Yeah, you're right about the LinkedIn stuff. Like, we had a bit of a sesh yesterday, and I think, one of the questions was, as a personal brand, how often should I post? And it's like, well, actually, you can post once a month, or you can post once a day. It's not about how many times, it's about consistency.
Yep.
So if you can post once a day, do post once a day, but make sure you do post once a day. If you can only spend the time posting once a week, then only post once a week.
Yeah.
They've recently added the feature where you can schedule your posts natively via LinkedIn. So if you have a bit of a brain spark and you go, shit, man, this is a great idea for a post, write it there and then, schedule it for tomorrow or Thursday or whenever your day is, right? I post daily. We generate 75% of our incoming leads purely from my personal brand on LinkedIn. So it's, for us, it's our biggest incoming lead gen platform, right? It's absolutely huge. And I am a creative. I can often come up with ideas kind of on the fly, but I do have a list of 50 what I call Kickstarters, which are like, what inspires you? Give me a fill in the blank post. And it's all of those that help me just kickstart an idea to be able to write something. Yeah. Because I need to keep up the post every day. You know? And just to your point about an objective, yes, absolutely. End with that objective. And that could be a strategic objective as well. It's not like, I just want to post. It's like, actually, I want to, like yesterday's one, here's a secret for you. What I wanted to do was I wanted to show the gear and the rooms that we had in our office, but I needed to find an indirect way of highlighting that. Yep. So what I did is I took a bunch of pictures of the office and I said, when you're batch creating video content, make sure you're wearing a different, change of clothes, or make sure you've got shoot it in 3 different spaces. Otherwise, everyone's going to see the same video. Yep. And then I attached a whole bunch of photos of the studio to say, look, we're quite unique that we have a whole bunch of spaces. Bosh, I've actually given someone a tip, but subconsciously I've shown them all the gear and the rooms that we have in this office. So the objective was a subconscious sales pitch to get people into our studio, whereas actually the overarching thing was giving a selfless gift. And I think that's a key thing, is about giving tips and tricks to people, that selfless gift to increase the engagement, increase that likes. Okay, let's talk about, just to kind of finish it off, let's talk about candidates. Like, what can a candidate do from a headhunter perspective? Let's talk about that as well, because they're not looking for jobs. Right. But everyone's open to it a little bit. Right?
Oh, yeah. I always genuinely believe everybody is open to work. Unless you're CEO of a multi-million-pound firm or you're Alan Sugar or whatever, for the right opportunity, everybody would go, well, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. But you don't want to put open to work banner around your profile pic on LinkedIn, right? Yeah. So what can a candidate do? Should they just be accepting? or even a potential, because they don't know until you knock on their door
Yeah.
that they could be moved, right?
Yeah.
Would your advice to people that are good, high caliber candidates to just be open? Just let me have a chat,
Yeah.
Because they don't want them to cut the nose off just because someone's trying to sell them something.
Yeah, correct. But a lot of LinkedIn Recruiter, which is kind of the license you can buy if you're a recruitment firm, and they intentionally make them very expensive, which I think is the right way to do it, to be completely honest. They're thousands and thousands of pounds. Yeah, exactly. But what it does enable you to do as a recruiter is mass mail people.
Oh, yeah.
Which I can genuinely hand on heart on my wife's life say that we have not done and we do not do. So there's a mass mail function which we don't do. Every single in-mail that we send out has an element of personalization at the beginning of the message to let the reader know that we've typed it.
Yeah.
And this isn't just some bullshit mass mailer.
Especially for headhunter stuff.
Yeah, but I think the problem is a lot of recruiters who've never been taught any different just think, oh, that's going to save me 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Same message. Oh, you've
automation.
80 people that live in Brentwood have got SEO in their job title, 80 people in a project, click send, done. So to answer your question more directly, if candidates are being peppered with shit in-mails, a lot of them just won't read any of them.
Yeah.
So much so that some people, not many, but some people can even switch the being able to receive in-mail function off.
Agreed, yeah.
And I've placed quite a few people that have that off.
Right.
Because I figure a way to get in contact with them and
cool.
go, we should have a chat, just trust me.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a waste of your time.
Yeah.
And it works. But something else that candidates can do is toggle what we call open to work, but it's not public.
Oh, do you know what? I have seen this.
Yeah.
It's only to recruiters, right?
Yeah. And something else that
is a tip.
It is good, but anyone who's half sharp is going to go, shit, our internal recruiter's got a LinkedIn recruiter license. What if they have a look at us and see that 10 of us are,
Yeah.
But what LinkedIn does do is, I think the phrasing is, we try our best to limit the possibility of someone in your organization seeing it.
Yeah,
which is enough to put a lot of people off.
Yeah.
But I think candidates just need to treat their LinkedIn profile like their CV. They need to have their responsibilities on there, but most importantly, the deliverables and the achievements and the numbers, especially in marketing. And a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
But then if you've gone through a 10-year career where you've just had company, job title, and a small blurb, if overnight you go in and populate that with loads of copy and someone spots it, they're going to go,
everywhere.
What's going on here?
So that's right. And you start doing like a perfectly written LinkedIn post. Right?
So if you can try and update your LinkedIn profile slowly, people aren't necessarily going to notice it. Or just just do it from the beginning of your career.
Absolutely. If a candidate or a client, high caliber on both sides, want to get in touch with Rosslyn David, how do they do that?
All the socials, LinkedIn, our website, rosslindavid.co.uk. Find me, Adam Nichols, on LinkedIn, or James, or Harry, or Jess, or David, or Annette, or the other James, anybody. LinkedIn's really good for us. You can find loads of information about us there. Our website has recently been revamped in terms of content. So there's a really easy flow that you can see how we operate.
Whole bunch of really professional videos as well.
Oh, the video content is amazing. Yeah. There's a video agency called Capital Content, ran by a guy called Gary.
That's right. God, you remember my name as well.
He's a really nice guy. But no, that video content we've put out has been great. Thanks to you guys. And I was just saying to your colleague off camera that we've got quite a lot of inbound inquiries off the back of it.
And do you know what? Actually, that's we see that as success, right? Someone comes to us, do you want to make a video? Someone comes to us and says, we want to make a video. And I was like, well, actually take a step back. Actually, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
You want to generate leads.
Yeah.
And that's how we go backwards, right? Yeah. We could talk about how to improve marketing, I think, for the next 8 hours. If you want to find out more, if you want to listen to any other episodes, you can have a look at the links below. You can look at wherever you get your podcasts from, Spotify, Google, Apple, also on YouTube as well. Thanks so much, Adam, from Rosslyn David, for joining us. It's been great fun.
Pleasure.
Listeners, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you again soon. Cheers.